All right, you can see my slide, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So what we are looking at is data monetization, turning insights into business value. Um, so I believe after probably you've acquired data skills, the next step is to try to turn that into money, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to have skills and you're not able to make income from that skills, right? So we'll look at how you'll be able to do that. So I have a content that we will go through. First is the data monetization. We'll look at background on what that means. And then we'll look at core data competency to build before you monetize. So these are like very important industry, high in demand industry skills. So we'll look at all of that. And then monetization channels. What are the different ways you can actually monetize your data skills, right? And then we'll also talk about visibility. Visibility is very important. If nobody knows you, or if nobody knows what you do, how are you going to make money, right? It's not. It is less likely for you to make money if people don't actually know what you do. And then lastly, we'll do Q&A. So if you have any question, put it together, or if you have any question, just keep it. When we get to the end, you can ask your question, right? So firstly, let's just start with some background understanding or definition, right? Data, yeah. So what is data monetization? This is basically the process of turning data and the insight drawn from it into measurable real-world economic value, right? Economic value means that real-world economic value means that you're actually helping a particular business with your data skills to be able to achieve certain economic advantage or certain to achieve certain business success metric, right? So, and I have a couple of business success metric here. A lot of businesses that exist, a lot of them are looking to increase revenue, right? And then also a lot of them want to save cost. That is the cost of running business. And then also businesses make decisions on a day-to-day basis. How do you help them to make better decisions, right? How do you make them, how do you help them to make data-driven decisions, okay? So yeah, so as long as your data skills are able to help companies or businesses to increase their profits or to save cost or to improve their decision making, make better decisions, basically it means that the business will see your skills to be valuable and they will be willing to pay for those skills, right? So recently I have one of my learners. So I have a lot of people that I mentor as apprentice in the UK. So one of my apprentices actually helped a business to solve a problem where certain drivers of the company were doing certain fraudulent activity when it comes to fueling their car, the company cars, to run businesses. So he was able to analyze the data, from that business from that area of the business, and they were able to detect that, oh, certain drivers have been doing this fraudulent activity for a while, and that actually led to the sacking of these certain drivers. So basically from that you can see that the company is able to save cost in that area, right? So that's a good example that I will start with. Now, from insight to value, a simple framework, right? So this is a typical simple framework. It also aligns with what we call the data analysis life cycle. So as a data analyst, I expect that you should be familiar with what is called the data analysis life cycle. Okay, so this is very similar or the same to that. Now, if you're going to generate insight, one of the first things you have to do is to collect and clean the data, all right? So you need to gather data, and a lot of data come from a variety of sources, and that could be an Excel file that is sitting maybe in your computer. It could be a file or a data coming from a database, and that database could be probably a cloud database, or probably an online, an on-premise database, right? So these are not all the sources that are available. There are web sources. You can actually connect to a web source like Wikipedia and extract tables and all of that. So you can, so basically this first stage is about collecting, data, integrating that data, cleaning that data. When you clean data, you remove things like duplicates, you remove things like missing values, you remove things like inconsistency, like the column namings, there is no consistency. Those are the things you need to do. Basically, this is preparing the data for the next stage. So the next stage is where you analyze and model the data, right? So at this point, what you basically do is to find patterns, you find insight, you find correlation, you find relationships between all the variables that you have in your data. Okay, so either, let's say you do some analysis. Let's say you calculated something like mean, basic descriptive statistics, right? Like mean, median, mode, max value, minimum value, you do some counts, a lot of this gives you summary understanding of the kind of data you have. And then modeling here. So there could be modeling in terms of modeling in Power BI. Those of you that are familiar with Power BI, there's the modeling aspect of Power BI where you kind of normalize a data set, to improve its performance. Yeah, and then from this, and then also there's the modeling that maybe, let's say you are creating a machine learning model, you kind of model it, you create the model, you fit it to the data. That also is considered to be modeling. And then you move to the next stage, which is basically package the insights. So whatever it is that is the result of your findings, let's say from using a machine learning model or from creating a Power BI report or an Excel report or whatever report, this is the point where you kind of package the insight that you have extracted, all right? So you can either package it, as a report in a Word document or in a PowerPoint slide, or it could be still on the Excel, Excel sheet, or it could still be on the Power BI, sheet. And then if it's a machine learning model, you have to find a way to summarize the findings, into digestible, digestible piece, because especially if you're dealing with businesses where the individuals in that business are not very technical people, you have to find a way to simplify your findings or your product for them to understand the business value, right? Or the impact or the business impact of what you've done. And then finally, deliver business value. This is where whatever you've done, whether it is a Power BI report, it is a dashboard, it is a predictive model, it is some kind of analysis in Excel, whatever it is, this is where basically you are able to deliver the value itself, right? And that's basically either increasing the revenue for that business or the profitability of that business, or basically helping the business to save cost, operational cost, for instance, basically helping them to make better decisions. Better decisions could be, kind of, things they can do, to improve different departments, the productivity of departments, or things they can do to improve how they carry out business, basically. So that's it. So this is a very simple framework. And from here, let's move to the competencies, right? All of us want to make money from data or data skills, right? But what are the data skills that you need, or what are the expertise that you need? What are the industry demands? So I've been teaching and coaching and mentoring and supervising a lot of data professionals across the UK between the age of my youngest mentee is like about 19. My oldest mentee is about 62 years old, right? So I've taught a variety of people, with different ages, and they work for very different industries in the UK. All right. So now, language and tools are some of the things, some of the competencies that you need. And you can see what I have is Python, SQL, and Excel. Now, for a data professional, these tools are very key. So for people that are not yet, that are beginners, if you're just starting in data, all right, I would recommend that you start with Excel, okay? So probably if you're not aware, Microsoft Excel is the most popular and the widely used data tool in the world, all right? So if you are starting with if you are going into data, this is a very essential skills that you should learn. There are a lot of aspects of Excel, the reporting aspect, the formula aspect, the functions, the pivot tables, the pivot chart, a lot of things. And then it also has the Power Query component, right? And then there's SQL. SQL is also very, very essential. Why it is essential? Because a lot of businesses collect their data into a database, right? And for you to kind of interact with a typical database, you need SQL skills. Basically, what you would use it for is, to manipulate data. Manipulation, things like doing joining tables, cleaning the data, kind of doing a quick insight, doing summary, statistics kind of, right? And then there's Python. I kind of said Python and R, all right? Personally, I would recommend you to learn Python rather than R. R is more or less like a statistical package than a programming language. And in terms of adoption or in terms of popularity, Python is more popular. It has higher industry demand. These are key tools, key important tools for you to master as a data professional. These three, there are a lot out there, but these three are very, very important. All right. You don't have to do everything at the same time, but you can pick one after the other. All right. Start with one, master it to some level, pick another, master it to some level, pick another, master it to some level, see how you can do the same thing. Let's say removing duplicates, see how you can be able to remove, how duplicates are removed in Excel, in SQL, in Python, right? So this gives you a variety of, how these things are done across board. And each of those tools can be good for different things, okay? Now visualization, the popular visualization tools out there are Power BI, Tableau, and Studio Looker. There are more than this, but these are like the common ones. Personally, I teach Power BI because a lot of the learners that we get, they use Microsoft ecosystem. All right. So because Power BI is a Microsoft tool, most people go for Power BI because it integrates with other tools like, let's say, Microsoft Teams, SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, and the others. Right. So here I would recommend that you pick one. Right. I would recommend you pick Power BI. Power BI is actually cheap. If you want to get the license, and then also Tableau also is very good, although I learned Tableau can be expensive. And then Looker Studio by Google. All right, I've not tried this, but I think it's also a very good tool. Now, the good thing about some of this visualization tool is that if you can master one, you can easily be able to use the other. All right, they kind of have the same techniques or syntax or something like that. Okay, and then there's cloud. Okay, I wouldn't say cloud is a very significant skill you need to learn immediately as a data professional, but it's something that you should pick up along the way. So you can either learn Azure, AWS, GCP, Snowflake. Again, if you pick one of the cloud computing platform and master it, it is kind of similar to the rest. So you can easily transfer your learning from, let's say, if you master Azure, you can easily transfer your learning, to AWS, GCP. All right. Now, Snowflake is particularly is a data-focused cloud computing platform, right? So for people in data, you can pick this along the way. Okay. Now, statistics is very important for a data professional, whatever field you want to go into in the data profession. Statistics is very important. So think of things like probability, confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, regression, A/B testing. These are things that these are like common statistical analysis that you may be using on a day-to-day basis. Statistics is very wide, but these ones are very common. Okay, they are common, and I've seen my learners use it. I've taught them how to use it, and all of that. And then we have machine learning. So depending on the kind of industry you work with, your industry may not be requiring machine learning, but if you are in an industry where they need some form of predictive analytics or some form of prediction or forecasting, then machine learning skills are very, very important. All right. And again, because the data industry is very big and there are different professions within that data industry, if you intend to be a data scientist, then you should focus more on machine learning. Okay. If you intend to be a data analyst, then you should focus on things like language and tools, the visualization, and some cloud, skills and experience. Okay, and statistics as well. But for those of you that are interested in, data science or machine learning, then this will be very key and important. And then finally, soft skills. Soft skills are very, very important. So communication and problem solving. There are a lot of soft skills, but these two are very, very important. And the reason is because anytime I mentor or supervise learners, they usually do some form of assessment, right? So in that assessment, we ask them to create a PowerPoint slide. Maybe they do a data project. We ask them to create a PowerPoint slide and to present that data project. Okay. Now, this is where you will communicate your findings, not only your findings, but you will give us a narration of the beginning of the project, which is defining the objective, gathering requirement, collecting data, methodology or method or whatever, up to the point where you will summarize the eventual findings of your data project. So communication is very key. And also you need to be able to know how to tailor your communication depending on the kind of audience you have. If you are dealing with non-technical stakeholders or non-technical people, you know that these people, you have to simplify your language or simplify whatever it is that you're saying. All right. If you're dealing with technical people, it's very easier. They'll understand all the jargons, all the big vocabularies and all of that. Yeah. And then problem solving is your ability to be able to define a problem and decide on a solution to it. So some of these skills, you won't just pick them in a day, right? It's a journey, and you need time for the skills to marinate or for the skills, to improve. All right. So it's not something that I can say if you start within 1 year, you'll be a master of all of these things. For a lot of people, it can take you up to 5 years to master a lot of what you are seeing on the screen. Okay. But I mean, depending on your intensity of learning and progress, your time may be different. Yeah. So before I move to the next slide, does anybody have a question that you think you want me to answer now rather than later? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. No question. Should I proceed? Okay, perfect. Now, when it comes to monetization channel, so at this point, it is assumed that you have mastered a lot of data skills, because you need to master some, data skills before you can be able to sell it. And I mean, when I say master, I don't mean you have to be like an expert, from day one. I mean, no matter how much you've learned, even if you are just starting 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, you can always teach what you've learned. All right. So monetization channel, number one is teaching. You can make money from your data skills through teaching. And I think this is the number one area that I have used to make money. My current job involves a lot of teaching and mentoring. And in fact, I am a certified technical trainer in the UK. Not only that, while I was in Nigeria, I was a certified, I was like, I had like a teaching qualification. Let me put it that way. Okay. So teaching is my number one thing. I'm known for training, for teaching, for mentoring, people and all of that. So what you can do, you can organize weekend classes for beginners, organize classes for just anybody that is interested, and they can pay you an amount. You can offer one-to-one coaching sessions. One-to-one means just you and the person, and you can coach them on whatever they want to learn. Let's say they want to learn something in Excel. You can say, okay, yeah, I know this, I can teach you. I mean, you just have to pay me just a little token, to do that. Yeah, and then you go ahead and do it. You can work as a teaching assistant for a boot camp, or you can teach in a boot camp. You can also, so I mean, for those of you that are starting your career in data, you should do a lot of this, even if you are not paid, because those volunteering opportunity kind of give you initial experience, and all of that. We'll get to that. I have that in my slide. Another way you can make money from data skills is through creating digital products. Okay. What are digital products? Digital products are just like digital like items that you create, digital data items that you create. So one is creating tutorials and courses online. So people make money by creating, tutorials or courses online. You can have a YouTube channel, you can kind of create content and put it up there. You talk about your experience, talk about whatever it is, and some people actually curate courses and then upload it to platforms like Udemy. If you have a standardized course, you can upload it to Coursera or other platforms, and you can make money from that. Also, you can create things like expense trackers for companies or individuals using Excel. You can create budgeting templates. People do budgeting, let's say companies, and some of these companies don't really have Excel skills. And in fact, if you see what they are currently using, for budgeting, is not very optimized. So you can offer to do something optimized for them. Interview guides, you can create interview guides for people in data. You can also create study cheat sheets for people that are going for interviews in data. All right. These are two ways. Next is volunteering and internships. So particularly Nigeria has a lot of NGOs. So, and a lot of these NGOs, they require actually data skills. But a lot of the time, they may not say data analyst, they may call it monitoring and evaluation. So it's the same thing. So they call it monitoring and evaluation. It's kind of the same thing as data analysis, because it's the same process. You gather data, you analyze data, and basically you communicate the findings of your data. So offer your skills to NGOs, startups, small businesses. Those small businesses around you, you can go there and tell them, okay, I think I can help you create an Excel sheet that can help you do like inventory management or expense tracker or something, right? Probably they have not been doing it. And you can say, I can do it for you, just offer me a token, maybe 50,000, 100,000, and, you have something great. So sometimes some of these businesses, you will need to convince them yourself, because they have no idea that this can be useful for them. So you need to convince them. Then gain real world project experience. Yeah, so through volunteering and internships, some of them are paid, some of them are not paid. Like I said, if you are just starting your profession in data, I will recommend that you do a lot of free work. Your first year, first 6 months, first 3 months, do a lot of free work, build project. That kind of help you to accumulate a lot of experience, right? So by the time you become an expert, you will not have to do free work for people. In fact, you only do it if as a way to give back to the community. All right. I'm currently involved in a project in the UK. We call it Black in Data. So I'm designing the curriculum for machine learning, and I'll be delivering that, and it will be basically free of charge, because It's just a giving back. We're helping the minority groups in we're basically helping the underrepresented minority groups in data in the UK. So, and then finally, build a portfolio, collect references. So through your volunteering and internships, you can build networks like with the CEOs, with the directors, with your colleagues, and then also along the way, you can build a portfolio of your work, maybe an analytical project where you collected data and analyzed, and got useful findings, and then references also. Those NGOs can help you with references. Then competitions, yes, some of you have competitive behavior. So if you have a competitive nature, you can go to Kaggle or Zindi. They also have courses, but you can use that to test your skills. Kind of enter competitions with people, other people, win prizes. You can enter as an individual. You can enter as a group. And that can help refine your skills, because you will basically meet other people doing different things and you learn in that process. Okay. Then solve real business problems for practice. Then also through those competitions, a lot of the competitions, they kind of give you actual problems to solve. So I participated in a hackathon here in the UK where we were asked to create like a synthetic data. Basically, that data is for testing. Because there are a lot of situations where, there won't be real data for testing. So you have to kind of simulate synthetic data for testing. So, yeah. So those are the kind of, and that will give you good experience, and skills. So you also earn cash prizes and portfolio credibility. So when you win a competition, you can use that to find a job. When you go for a job interview, you can say, you've participated in competitions, you won competitions. Whoever is interviewing you will feel like, oh, this person is competent. This person, has a lot of things to offer, right? Now, documenting your learning. Documenting your learning is about sharing what you do. So share project lessons and milestone publicly. Some of you use social media, but you just use it for cruise and vibes. I won't stop you from cruise and vibes, but sometimes you can use it for business, right? Whatever you do as a person that is giving you income or may give you income, share it on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, share it. Because as you do that, people will know what you do, and from there you can get recommendations or references. Yeah, post consistently on LinkedIn and similar platforms. Post on LinkedIn, share what you do, narrate what you've done. It gives you visibility. People see what you're doing. Build trust and also visibility with potential employers. Building trust is very important. I need to say that in your journey as a data professional, you need to be known as a trustworthy person. People need to know that they can rely on you, so you need to be reliable. If you say you are going to do this in 1 week, all right, please try and do it in 1 week. It is better to under promise and over deliver than to over promise and then under deliver, right? And then there are freelancing platforms as well, like Upwork, Fiverr, and Contra. Those are like platforms you can get contracts from people across the world. I know, there are a lot of people that have used that. Personally, I've not used it to get any job, but people have used it a lot and have made money through that, right? And then freelancing could be that you're helping someone to clean Excel files or build dashboards. People use Excel on a day-to-day basis, but what you realize is people are not using optimized, models or optimized, let's say Excel models, or their data could be messy, something like that. So just offering to optimize what they are already doing, offering to refine or improve what they are already doing, just that can help you make money, right? Then you can help automate recurring reports for businesses. Let's say Power BI, for example. You can do what they call a scheduled refresh. That means you have a live reporting, and You don't have to create a report anytime there is a new report anytime data is coming in. You've created one report, you will schedule a refresh. What that means is that maybe after 1 week, after 3 days, after 2 weeks, the report will refresh itself and then update information on the report automatically because of new data that is coming in, right? So that's basically, one way to automate, right? So, yeah. Any question before I proceed? If you have a question you feel like I need to answer before I proceed, I will not mind to answer it, right? But if no question, let's talk about visibility. Now, this is very, very important, visibility. Some of you, some of you are good at certain things, but because nobody knows that you do that thing, you don't make anything from it, and you don't get people subscribing or buying into what you do. And sometimes you'll be surprised, okay, why is it that i'm not I'm not getting people subscribing or buying into what I do? It is simply because nobody knows that you do it, or not many people know that you do it. And this is where social media is very important. If you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, that is a market for you, to be honest. And sometimes the people you think are the people that will subscribe or buy into what you do are usually maybe not the people. It is probably someone is probably someone that it is probably someone that I'm trying to I'm trying to figure where to the chat so that maybe there's a question there. So it is probably someone that maybe you do not think will subscribe into what you do. That is actually the person that will subscribe into what you do. Now, some years ago, when I was learning and improving and progressing in my data science career, right? At some point, when I acquire certain certificates, I share it on Facebook. All right. So I didn't know that there was someone that was interested in what I was doing. And the person chatted me and said, oh, I've been seeing what you do. I think I like what you do. You're working hard. Can you try to do this? Can you maybe try to do that? Can you try to do this? This can help you to go far. This can help you to, progress, that kind of thing. And, if you don't share, you won't open yourself to that kind of opportunity, for people to kind of, you know, subscribe or buy into what you're doing, right? So use social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. My favorite social media is Reddit. It is neither LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. And you can use Reddit for professional development. It is very useful for professional development. Another visibility platform like Upwork, Fiverr, Contra, those places are basically for freelancing. They are also platforms for visibility. Competitions are platforms for visibility, and then you can meet new friends. Basically, making friends in your data journey is actually very important, because if one friend knows that you do something very well, they can actually recommend their friend to you. I've gotten a job through that. I had a friend that we did, a data course years ago. So when he had a friend that was doing a master's degree, he recommended to that friend that I can help the friend to do like a data project, right? To support the friend with a data project. So that's how I got that data project, and it was paid for, right? So people need to know that this is what you do, and this is how well you do what you do. So Kaggle, Zindi are for competitions. You can you can make friends on networks and get visibility there. Also, it is very important to attend meetups, conferences, webinars like this one. So whatever it is that you're benefiting here, all right, imagine the people that have not attended, they are not going to benefit from what you are benefiting here. So, and that's why you need to attend meetups. So in meetups, you're going to make friends, you're going to meet other professionals, you meet people that are already in the industry doing certain work. So I will advise that you attend meetups and conferences or webinars. I still do as a form of my continuous development in the data industry, I still attend meetups, I still attend conferences and webinars whenever I have the time. It is very useful. There are other people doing great work out there, and what they are doing can actually inspire you. And with that, I come to the end of my slide. And I hope everything makes sense to you. So, Rejoice, I don't know how much time I have.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful session. I was really blessed. Let me use that. Um, for your speaking time, you did justice. You have a few more minutes, but then we can add that into the section for question and answer.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll be taking 10 minutes for question and answer.
All right, perfect. So feel free to shoot your questions.
Yes, you can either raise your hand or you can type it in the chat box. So who has a question? I'm sure from one or two of the things that he said, you would want to ask something about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Boala, Gideon, please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is: as an individual without a skill or knowledge in statistics and
Yeah.
anything that deals with data, how can I structure a learning, or how can I be able to navigate this data pathway? How can I be able to go from a beginner without any knowledge of statistics or data or anything of this nature, and how can I be able to grow to a kind of pro level? That's my first
All right.
question. I have three questions.
Okay. So should I answer each question before you go to the next? Is that okay?
Okay, I can actually read out all the questions.
Okay, because I don't want you to read out all the questions and then I'll forget.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
go one after the other. Or is it okay? If they are
Yeah,
not
it's
long,
fine.
you can just read them out, right?
Okay, okay. Should I go on or I
Yeah,
should?
just go on. I
Okay,
hope to remember everything. Yeah.
okay. The next one is: must I have statistical knowledge before I journey on the pathway of data? And then the last
Okay.
one is: what are the jobs or career available if I have the knowledge of data and knowledge of data?
All right. Now, your first question is about how do you start as a beginner or something like that. Now, I need to state that of all the people I've mentored in data, a lot of them came from probably opposite industries. When I mean they probably had skills that are not related to data. Okay, so everything about data, you can learn it from whatever profession that you are currently doing. Okay, even if you are just a handy person, you can learn it and become successful. So it doesn't. I mean, you don't need to have a background in, let's say, statistics or maths or computer science to begin to say that that's what I mean. That's when you go into data. So from whatever background, whether it's geography, whether it's English, you can go into data, right? Now, to begin, basically, so you actually don't need any statistical background. You can learn statistics, all the statistics in data. You can actually learn them you can learn them on your own, or get people to teach you. People are in it, to teach you. It's basically about your intensity of learning, your commitment, and dedicatedness to everything. And then in terms of career, there are a lot of careers. So let me. I believe everyone here is from Nigeria. So let me use Nigeria for example, and I'm going to tell a quick story about my own career trajectory. Now, I started learning data somewhere around 2020 or 2019. I started by learning Python. In fact, I didn't start by learning Excel, right? I picked up Excel along the way. And then I learned Python, data science from when I started in 2020, somewhere around September or thereabout. I learned data science consistently. So let me put hours to it. I learned like I committed like 2 hours on a daily basis on average for like 10 or 11 months. And that was when I secured my first job. Before I secured my first job, I had like 3 certifications in the, that's like Microsoft certification. So there's this Microsoft Azure Data Scientist, Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, Microsoft Data Fundamentals. I had those certifications. So they kind of gave me an edge, and I did them free of charge, because sometimes you get free voucher to do those certifications. And you can actually also get free resources, right? So I got my first job as a data scientist in Lagos, and I had to relocate to Lagos, to start. So sometimes, yeah. So eventually, I moved to Lagos, started working in Victoria Island for an IT consultancy as a data scientist. So that's how, that was my story, right? So sometimes where you want the job to be may not where the job will be. But if you have an opportunity, I would advise you to take it, even if it's 2 months, 3 months, 1 year you do, it will count, in kind of building a very good portfolio for yourself. But now there are a lot of companies in Nigeria, especially NGOs, they take people like data analysts, or it can be monitoring and evaluation, right? So monitoring and evaluation is almost the same thing as data analysis. There may be some things that are different, but yeah, kind of the same thing. So the opportunities, you can get opportunities as a data analyst with NGOs like Babangona, Thrive Agric. There are a lot of companies in Abuja, some are in Lagos. They could be in any state as well. All right. So all you need to do is to do research, and then this data stuff is actually a journey. So when you start, don't expect to get like to start making money or start printing money in your first year. All right, it will take you some time. Some people start making money on time. Early enough. Some people start later in life, but understand that it's a journey, and yeah, yeah. I think that would be it. I hope I answered all your questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who is
Okay,
next?
so do we have any other questions? Okay, before for those who are still contemplating whether to ask or not, I have a question for you, sir.
All right, shoot.
So my question is for, first of all, social media platforms. What is your biggest leverage, or what is your recommended biggest leverage? I know you said you prefer Reddit, but for people who are familiar with the likes of LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter as well, which of them is the best? Because I know
No.
some of the people I know, they scout Twitter for
Yeah,
jobs
yeah,
as well, and some of them prefer Twitter to even LinkedIn. So in general terms,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is
All right. So Reddit will not be suitable for sharing project or sharing what you do. All right. Reddit is very suitable and useful if you want to learn from other professionals, right? Now, if we are talking about platforms or social media networks where you can share and scout for jobs, I will not recommend Reddit, because Reddit has some level of privacy. People will not know you because your account is private. They won't see your face. People don't put pictures on Reddit or put their names or details. So everyone is on some kind of private mode. All right. But you meet professionals that will teach you, that will guide you, that will tell you how to do interviews, or, something like that. But if it's about scouting for jobs, or um, sharing what you do, I think I would recommend LinkedIn and Twitter as the first two. All right. Twitter is good. LinkedIn is good for those opportunities. I haven't gotten a job via Twitter, because Yeah, I haven't gotten a job via Twitter, but you can connect with people on Twitter, right? Other people have gotten opportunities via Twitter. I don't know, maybe it wasn't my luck, but I've not. But I relate professionally with other people on Twitter, and then LinkedIn is good. Always share. I mean, you don't know who is looking, but people are seeing what you do. Maybe they will not like it, but they will be seeing what you do. There are people that are doing stuff in data that I see. I don't like it, but I have an idea that this person is in data and this is their level of capability. So tomorrow, if I have an opportunity, I can say, I think I've seen this person does something in data. Maybe this person, I can recommend them for this or that or this. So LinkedIn, Twitter is good. I mean, Facebook as well. Feel free to share on Facebook. I've shared on Facebook. Someone have seen it and they contacted me. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I have to say on that. I'm not a social media expert, and I don't do TikTok, so I don't know anything about TikTok. But whatever platform you can use to share or advertise what you do or find opportunity, whatever platform it is, please go ahead and use it. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for answering that question. I
Yep.
do have another one.
All right.
So, throughout your session, you spoke from the data analyst perspective.
Yeah.
You have a business. I suppose you have a business, or you have a team you work with, a brand, or something along the lines of that.
Okay. Oh,
I'm
you're asking
asking.
if I have a business.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I work for a company where I basically do a lot of technical trainings and kind of mentor professionals in data across the UK. So I am on a salary job. Okay.
Okay.
However, I'm a contractor as well. By contractor, I means I can take contracts in data, and that could be, let's say, an organization wants me to train their staff, on data. So it could be data literacy. It could be, let's say, Excel skills, SQL skills, Power BI or Python skills. I can take the contract and they can pay either on a daily basis. Or, I mean, they can pay if it's a 1 day training, they can pay me for that day. So I've lectured at a university. I've lectured some master students at the university on a contract basis. So it's more or less, contract is more or less like freelancing. So I did that for about a year and they paid me like £65 per hour. Yeah. I'm saying it to inspire you. So don't think I am like a billionaire. But yeah, such opportunities, yeah, I mean, if you're an expert, if you're a professional, you know what you do, I mean, people will be looking and seeking after your skills, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my actual question is, for a business, the
Yeah.
data that they have gathered over time or
Yeah.
accumulated over time,
Yeah.
how can they actually monetize that data? And for those who are not monetizing, what do you think are the barriers that they face in monetizing those data?
Yeah. So for a business, yeah. So if you're a business, you're collecting data, you want to monetize only the data. The only way to monetize it is to sell it to people that are interested, right? So for instance, you can sell it to market research organizations or companies. There are companies that are into market research. So probably they are researching industries like yours and they need data from that kind of industry. So yeah, I mean, people use that kind of data to probably do competitor analysis. Yeah, you know. So for instance, if let's say you work in GT Bank, and I mean GT Bank has data, they want to sell the data. Let's say there's another uh, group that wants to start a bank and they need data to understand the market trend in banking. So they can say, okay, GT Bank, can you sell us your data or probably GT Bank has sold it to a market research company. So that bank, that new bank that wants to set up, they can buy GT Bank data through a market research company, right? Now, market research companies, they go out there and collect data directly from people, right? So they gather that data and they can sell. So if you're a company, you have that data, you can sell it to whoever is interested. Probably you need to find the buyers, or if you know the buyers, yeah, fine. But also, if you want some value from that, your data, you can analyze it and it can help, improve operations, within your company. So that's how I feel like you can sell your data. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Okay, that is noted. Thank you so much, sir.
yeah.
My last question, my last question.
Yeah.
For data professionals that are looking to go into, let's say, a data consulting role,
Yeah.
I believe that the whole aspect of data monetization, which is actually turning the insights derived from an analysis
Yeah.
into actual business value that can help businesses thrive,
Yeah.
that comes in very handy as a data consultant.
Yeah.
So for someone who is transitioning from technical analysis, which
Yeah.
is basing on the tools that we know, Excel and the likes of them that you mentioned,
Yeah.
transitioning from all of that into being a consultant, what mindset shift should they have? I don't know if
Yes.
the question
Yeah.
is
Yeah. It's clear. It's
okay,
about,
sir.
your question is about consultancy, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So as a consultant, yeah, so basically consultancy is about helping businesses or companies to solve data problems. So like I said, I worked with an IT consultancy, all right? Although it's a big IT consultancy, so they have professionals that are working. We had data engineers, data analysts, data architects, people in software, creating softwares and all those kind of things. So what the company does is they go out there, they find clients. Maybe the client wants, let's say, Power BI report to kind of monitor operations, all right, to see how, operations, what are like, whether the operations, is hitting targets. Let's say, for instance, there's a revenue department, you want to see whether revenue is hitting target every year or you are not hitting the target. And then through that, you can be able to make certain decisions to improve, on how to hit your target or increase your revenue, right? So consultancy is basically about helping businesses. So the kind of mindset shift is that of a person that is able to solve problems. So you have to move from being a technical person to being able to understand and define the problems that people have, and being able to know what solutions you can give, right? And that solution, you don't have to be the person, you can employ people to do that. All you need to do is to kind of have, create the business deal and know how much, can be paid for that service you offer, and then get the people to do it, and basically that's it. So I did a little bit of consultancy work for Greenville. Greenville is oil and gas company. You will know that some of them, I mean, they're in Kaduna, Abuja, and mostly the northern states. So it was on HR. They wanted to add some artificial intelligence capability to their HR recruitment process. So I did a presentation, showed them what they can do, how they can go about it, and all of that. It was basically free, all right? So, and I showed them the actual softwares they can use and how much they will need to pay for that software to, to do recruitment. And yeah, so those are the kind of things, they asked me, in fact, they asked me how much they will be paying for that, right? But I basically did it for free, so those are the kind of, consultancy. I mean, that's basically how you should begin to see things, like being able to help people solve problems. So you need to learn a lot about the different data problems that people have, especially companies in Nigeria. Companies in Nigeria may not have the same data challenges as companies in the UK. So you need to be able to, know the kind of problems. You need to be able to write proposals, speak to key persons, tell them, okay, you collect this data. I think I can help you do something with that data that will help your business to grow and improve, or help to improve certain processes and all of that. So you have to think like that. So it's like you have to know how to market what you do, speak to people, tell them, some people don't know that they need a solution. So you have to convince them that they need a solution and you have that solution. And then you can do some demo, all right, showing them how, you can actually solve their problems. Yeah. I hope I've done justice to that.
Yes, sir, you have. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
So much. So if there's no other question from my end. I don't know if any other person has a question. Okay, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah. Can you do
Um,
data monetization and still study a competitive course in the university like law and medicine or accounting? Yes. There's nothing you cannot do, right? So people are doing it, but again, it will depend on your personality. Some people are very, very intense, all right? Some people are doing let's say somebody's doing two masters at the same time, one in physics, one in mathematics. People have done it. So if other people have done it, you can do it. It depends on you as a person. If you feel like you have the capability, some people don't have that capability to do that. Yeah, but you can always do it. I've seen people in medicine transition into data and become data professionals and left the medicine profession. Yes, it has happened a lot of the times. People in medicine just switch. People in law just switch. You can always switch. In fact, if you switch from medicine, you become a data professional with a domain expertise in medicine. So this means that you can work as a healthcare, let's say, data analyst. And there is high demand for healthcare data analysts in the world. I mean, generally in the world, even in Nigeria, in the UK, there is high demand. Even for people in law, if you have a law background, you can become a data analyst in law. So this means you have law expertise. You can convert that into some data understanding and help law firms to kind of, be able to do certain things. So in fact, you have an advantage. So, and that's why I said from the beginning, you can become a data analyst from any background you want. So it's all up to you, your effort, your commitment, your dedication, your study routine, and all of that, basically. Yeah. So I hope that helps.
Sir Victor Adam, I hope that your question was really answered. The nail was hit on the head. Okay, he has responded. So sir, would you be able to, we'll request that you share your slides with us for those who could not make it to the meeting.
Yes, I
So
think I
yes,
sent you the slide in your email.
Okay, so I'll check. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
And
you can.
before you wanted to say something, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you can share it with anyone.
All right, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So before we call it a day, I believe that this 1 hour has been very impactful and insightful to everyone who joined the call, and it was not a waste of our time here. Thank you once again for joining in. So, sir, could you be so kind to share um, your LinkedIn info with us so that we can follow you up as well?
Yes, I
Hello.
will.
Okay. Okay, someone has a question.
Okay, please go ahead and ask your question. Who is
Okay, yes,
asking?
this is Adiza. He will share his LinkedIn handle with us very soon. So please, sir, you can drop it in the chat box.
Yes, just give me, and you should see it.
Okay, so we have one
So
more question
my
from.
LinkedIn handle is in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's all do well to follow him on LinkedIn. Remember, LinkedIn is a place where you showcase your skills, share your products, basically show the world what you are made of. So you can tag him in your posts when you're making posts about this event as well, and follow him up so that he can also see your progress on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. We have one more question from Mr. Shitu Falalu. Please, when considering area of specialization, what are the most important things to... Okay, the question is not complete. Yes, Mr. Shitu, you can unmute and speak, sir.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
Please,
afternoon.
when you are considering your area of maybe specialization, maybe you want to become a data engineer or a data analyst, is what
Yeah.
are the most important things to consider, or what are the fundamentals that you are going to use, or to consider your area of specialization? Thank you.
Yes. So I think some of the things that I think I've shared some competencies that you need to kind of learn in my earlier slide. So language and tools. So Python, SQL, Python, SQL, Excel, and then or R or Python, but I would recommend Python, then Excel, then SQL. These are very important. And then for visualization, Power BI, Tableau, Looker Studio, and then you need to learn some element or some cloud components, so whichever you decide. Or, I mean, you can do your research. I mean, all of you have access to AI. You can always ask AI, which is, which is going to suit you. You need to learn some statistics, basic statistics. They are not hard to understand. There are a lot of resources. AI can always, explain those things to you. You can watch a lot of videos on YouTube. There are so much resources on YouTube. Yeah. So depending whether you're doing data science, data engineering, they kind of have slight differences. But for the things that I've shared, it applies to practically every profession in data. So if you're a data engineer, for instance, what do data engineers do? They do a lot of dimensional modeling. Maybe you're using a methodology like the Kimball methodology, where you kind of prepare a model, a dimensional model, like a star schema model. Data engineers, they do a lot of ETL pipelining. ETL means extract, transform, and load. So whether you're doing that in the cloud with, let's say, Azure Data Factory on Azure Cloud, or it could be on AWS Snowflake, all right, you do your ETL. Basically, these are like key data engineering, fundamentals, right? So depending on what area you want to specialize, if you are starting in data right now, I would advise you to just start with data analysis. As your skills improve, then you can specialize into machine learning, data science, data engineering, or something like that, right? Yes, I'll advise you to just start data analysis. But if you get a direct opportunity, if you get an opportunity to start specializing instantly, maybe into data science or data engineering, feel free and go for it. All right.